Pat Roach was an English wrestler turned stuntman turned actor who appeared in the first three Indiana Jones films, usually as a big, strong henchman that Indy has to fight with. Let's take a look at the roles he made iconic. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Roach played two different characters. The first one is simply credited as a giant Sherpa, one of Toad's henchmen, alongside two other men and a Nazi officer, who was hired to torture Marion Ravenwood for information on the headpiece of Ra. But she is saved by Indiana Jones and a fight breaks out in the bar. While the Sherpa puts up a fight, Indy is victorious and the knocked out man is burned inside the bar as it catches on fire. Later on in the film, Indy has another fist fight against a Roach character, this time a German mechanic. Said to have been a prize fighter and always ready for a fight, the mechanic is first seen emerging from his hut and noticed Indy trying to hijack a plane that was going to transport the Ark to Germany. Seeing Jones beat his fellow mechanic very easily, this mechanic approached him and pressured him to a fight. Not really in the mood for it, Indy first tried to trick him and knock him down quickly, but the brute was too strong, and one punch was enough to make Indy fall to the ground. Wanting more of a challenge, the man simply picked Indy up and continued to brawl. While this was happening, the pilot of the plane gets knocked out by Marion, which starts a series of events that leads to the plane's propellers being turned on, and causing the plane to rotate in a circle. But the mechanic was unaware of all this, as he was too focused on his fight. This leads to his doom, when near the end of the fight, Indy with all his might, punch after punch, tries to knock him down, but was unsuccessful, until he noticed the propeller getting closer. Ducking for cover, the mechanic was confused by this, until he saw the propeller. Leaving too late to escape, the mechanic let out a scream and is shredded. In Temple of Doom, Roach plays the chief guard of Mola Ram's Thuggee cult. Ruthless and intimidating, one of his duties was to oversee the mining operation, where he would beat and abuse any child that wouldn't work. When Indiana Jones witnessed this, he threw a rock at the slave driver, causing him to have a grudge against the archaeologist. When Indy is captured, the guard witnesses his brainwashing by Mola Ram, being the one to force Indy to drink the blood. Later on, after Jones is free from the spell, he and the guard had a one-on-one fight in the mines. During the fight, the guard was aided by Zalim Singh, who used a voodoo doll to paralyse Jones. But once Short Round stopped him, Indy finally got the upper hand. The fight concluded on a governor belt, where the guard's sash gets caught in a rock crusher. Begging Jones to save him, Indy gave him a rope, hoping to pull him out. Despite Indy's efforts, the guard was too heavy, and he is pulled into the crusher, screaming all the way down. An unnamed Gestapo agent, notice how all of his characters don't have official names, was played by Roach in The Last Crusade. In the finished film, he is seen accompanying Colonel Vogel to the Zeppelin, looking for Indiana and his father, Henry Jones. While we all know what happened to Vogel, the Gestapo just vanished. However, he was meant to have more to do. Once Vogel was taken care of, Jones was going to run into him and knock him unconscious by a single punch. Later on, when the Joneses were trying to escape by a biplane, the agent tried to follow them, with the help of a drunken pilot, but the agent was too heavy for the plane, and since the pilot was too drunk to turn on the engines, he uncoupled the plane and both of them fell to their deaths. All of this was cut from the film, as Spielberg thought it was going on for too long. But the subplot is still included in the novel adaptation. I personally feel like the casting of Roach to play this character is meant to be an inside joke, as by now we're used to seeing Indy fight a large character played by Roach, only this time Indy knocks him out after just one punch. A fistfight does happen later on in the film, but between Jones and Vogel instead. On the 17th of July 2004, Pat Roach sadly passed away from throat cancer. But his legacy continued in some way, as both Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny had their own big, brutish henchmen as a tribute to Roach, whose scenes have become some of the most iconic in the series. And with that, we've come to the end of the Rogues Gallery. Well, the films at least. I am aware of the comics, the video games and the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, but my knowledge can only go as far as the films. Maybe one day I'll do other media, but until then, we have reached the end of the journey. If there's any questions you want to ask, then please feel free to comment and subscribe if you want. Until next time, I'll be riding off into the sunset.